So that's what it feels like.
Halloween. We're reviewing Halloween today.
Not the original, 2018.
No. Well, no, it doesn't have a subtitle. It's just Halloween.
Oh, sorry.
You can't change that.
Halloween. We're reviewing Halloween.
I hate that they never did a subtitle for this movie.
I know.
But it's so heavily reliant on the original in its continuity and everything. So here's the thing. We both love this movie. Most of what I have to say about it are good things. And I think we're going to do spoiler-free first, because apparently that's a big deal. So what I will say spoiler-free with this movie is if you are going to put the time into watching this, watch the original.
Yeah.
Like, immediately. That is probably the biggest thing.
Well, actually, you should watch Halloween 2, the best one.
I don't like that movie very much,
No.
but apparently some people do. This movie is just really on its own after the original Halloween. It's pretty much nothing else happens. So Halloween night happens in 1978. Michael Myers is captured shortly after, and then he is put in a mental institution. And he stays there for about 40 years. Then cut to present day, that is where this movie picks up. So really you need kind of that background to sort of see all of the trauma and everything of the original Halloween.
Yeah, so it also, it cuts out all the other movies. There's like 10 of them.
Yeah.
So, and there's also like 10 different timelines too.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just the original and then this new one and then Halloween Kills, kind of like you said. But
Yeah, and then ends, apparently.
yeah, so some spoiler-free stuff. The movie I think we both really like.
Yeah.
I don't know if we really like it more or less than the original. I think we both just like them.
I think we go back and forth on it.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I think if you're looking at them from the perspective of movies, like what's better written or what is more impactful or ended up being more important in the terms of cinema, like an actual critic would, which we're not.
Right.
Then you'd
Well, I
say...
am, but you aren't.
Right, exactly. Then we'd say 1978 Halloween, I'm sure.
Yeah.
However, I have a better time watching this movie. I think it's more fun.
Yeah.
I think it's faster. I think it's updated and modernized a little bit more without going full nuts. You know, because a lot of modern day horror movies are like, what's scary? Insane gore. I don't know. I don't find that scary.
Right.
Even Saw went that direction, where it was the original was actually not really that way. The first couple of them weren't. 3 got a little more that way, and then they just went off the rails. I think the more restrained approach of Halloween is really good, and it mixes in some gore and other stuff too, obviously, but it's not reliant on it to be scary. It's more about the shape. It's more about Michael Myers. What makes him scary, the idea that they know basically nothing about him and probably never will, that's kind of what makes him terrifying.
Right. I think going off the kills, this one did a lot better with those. The original, I like the original, I'm fine with the kills. However, some of them were kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
This one, you can tell they really put a lot of effort into making the kills not only, I don't want to say the word cool, because that sounds really weird.
Well,
but
no, I mean, they're supposed to be more iconic.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, a lot
So-
of them are tiebacks to previous films.
Yeah.
Homages. The only thing is, if you didn't watch those, it doesn't matter. Now, what I will say, too, is that this is not a movie for squeamish people.
Yeah,
If
definitely
blood and
not.
stuff bothers you, it's not for you. However, I don't think it's, fully in that direction.
Right.
I mean, overall, without spoilers, I think that's mostly what we have to say, probably. It's a really good movie. This is one of the better horror movies I've seen in years, I would say.
Yeah.
In modern years. I will say it's not terrifying to me. but I don't think it's meant to be. It's more supposed to be an iconic slasher follow-up.
Right.
There are horror elements. I'm sure if you take someone to this who doesn't watch any horror, it would possibly, scare them more. For me, I often was going like, oh, when I would see certain things.
Yeah, it's like some of the kills are just kind of gross.
Versus like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. I didn't really have that. Whereas maybe a movie like Conjuring would be more of that terrifying thing.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even label this as a horror.
No, but
I would
it's weird
label it as
they
like
do.
a slasher.
Yeah.
So.
But it's always called horror.
Yeah.
So I know slasher is a subgenre of horror, but
it's not horror like The Conjuring.
No.
It's more horror, just like.
Guy goes
gross.
around, kills a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, don't die.
Right.
That's really what it is. It sounds like I'm trivializing it. So, we'll move into spoilers now. If you want to watch this movie, like we said, watch the original, then watch this. You don't need anything. Nothing else in the middle is even canon. So, getting into spoilers, I do want to say one issue I had rewatching this movie is that almost everyone is unlikable.
Yeah.
Honestly. And you can say that for a lot of horror movies, but wow, do they make you spend time with unlikable people in this movie. Laurie Strode's daughter, is awful.
She's terrible.
She is so unlikable.
She's probably the second worst character in the movie.
Next to Laurie's son-in-law.
Yeah.
Which is that
Allison's
woman's
dad.
husband. Yeah, so you have Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode survived the original attacks in 1978 Halloween with Michael Myers. She was injured, but she injured Michael and then got away with Loomis's help, the psychiatrist. Then you have her daughter, who she raised to basically be, not a soldier, but be able to defend herself.
Right.
And your daughter's a total dick to her about it. Like, oh, you traumatized me. And then her daughter's husband, who is just a total jerk also to Laurie.
Yeah.
And then you have Laurie's granddaughter, who is the only likable person in this movie.
For about 3/4 of it.
Well, yeah, other than Laurie.
Yeah.
Laurie's at least likable, but I agree with you that some of her storyline's very dramatic, which could maybe be a turnoff to some people.
Yeah.
But I get it as she's a survivor of an absolutely traumatic event who, really, like you said when we were talking about this off camera, Laurie Strode was kind of ruined by what happened in 78.
All of her friends were murdered.
Yeah.
And she was almost murdered herself.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, she's not really anyone important either.
No.
She's just a person that Michael's probably found like his sister.
Yeah, attractive or similar to his sister Judith in some way. That is part of the tragedy of Laurie Strode, is Laurie Strode is not important.
Right.
That's why things like Halloween 2 ruined that a little bit by trying to be like, well, actually, you're related, and stuff like that.
Right.
That's part of the issue with those follow-ups. And trying to build a mysticism around Michael Myers is, what's scary about Michael Myers is that he is a person who you can't kill. He just doesn't seem to die, who always comes back. He is relentless.
Yep.
And Laurie Strode was a random girl who he happened to notice when he went to Haddonfield.
Yeah.
That's
about it.
So when you take those elements away, I think it ruins it a little bit. And one thing I will say about this movie that I don't particularly like is they're starting to go in a direction where Laurie Strode is super important. Now, I like Jamie Lee Curtis as an actor. She's great. I think she did great as Laurie Strode coming back in here. She was awesome. However, I don't want them to go so far in future movies that she's just the focus of all of them, because she really was for this movie.
Yeah.
It's a Laurie Strode movie.
Yeah, and it probably should move towards Allison.
Yeah.
And probably just kill the mom.
Oh, yeah.
Just because she's so unlikable. But I think that if you're talking, I think, first of all, I thought she did a great job in this movie.
She did, yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis, like you said. But I think for moving forward, the movie should really move away from her and kind of focus more on Allison just being the main character.
Yeah, Allison is her granddaughter.
Yeah.
And she's introduced in this movie, and she's actually great. However, they didn't know what to do with her for part of this movie. They just made her running away.
That's the problem. So, especially like the scene in the woods where she saw the mannequins.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be scary, but like it wasn't.
There's a scene where she runs away from Michael out in the middle of Haddonfield, and it makes sense. The police find her, then they're bringing her in. Then there's a big twist, and then she gets out of the car and runs away from Michael again. She's just in the woods. Then they had no idea what to do with her. Then they cut back to her later.
Moving into something else I thought was a little bad or weird was some of the characters' dialogue was kind of stupid. Like, okay, for example, basically everything that the dad ever said in the movie was just dumb.
What about when he had his yo-yo?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. There were some things that just didn't make sense. Like, the dad walking out to meet the police playing with a yo-yo. Like, why would he?
Well, he put the yo-yo away and he had a gun then, but
What I meant
right.
is, like, it's like the police show up. He's like, shoo, yeah. And it's like, okay, why are you playing with that yo-yo? Like,
yeah, I agree with that. There were some
Or-
weird things with that.
yeah, or like the dad randomly making like dick jokes to his family that you could
Oh, I
totally.
got peanut butter on my penis.
Yeah, like you could totally tell the directors was like, whoo, let's put a dick joke in there.
Yeah, it wasn't very clever
And
or
it's
funny
like,
at all.
okay, not
Yeah.
funny, but all right.
There were a lot of weird, not funny jokes
Yeah,
in the movie, actually. I will say, too, that I think overall, the characters just not being likable is a big problem for me.
yeah,
I mean, I can think of 2 characters other than Michael that I cared about. I will also say, too, that the Sartain twist, the whole twist that comes down, it's like, well, Sartain helped Michael get off the bus and escape.
yeah.
I was fine with that. That's an interesting idea that he became obsessed with Michael like Loomis was, but in the opposite way.
Right.
Fine. But where I'm not okay with it is then you have Sartain putting on the mask for no reason, just for shock value.
Yeah.
And then they pretend Michael was dead or something, and then he wasn't dead, and he came back and killed Sartain immediately, so Sartain didn't matter at all.
Right.
I understand. The point of that, people are going to say there was a point. The point of that was that this dude got obsessed with Michael Myers, wanted to see how he worked. Instead of Loomis, he didn't let it go. He
Yeah.
just stayed fixated on that, and he wanted to see him actually out functioning, so he helps get him out, and then he kills someone to try and see what that feels like, why Michael's so obsessed with it. Then he feels it, and then he was very clearly weirdly turned on by killing a dude. And then Michael just straight up says, I don't need you anymore, and kills him without saying anything.
Right.
Because obviously Michael had some kind of relationship with Sartain. He never spoke to him. But obviously Sartain spoke to Michael. Because
Yeah.
Sartain even told Allison that he encouraged Michael. He was like, despite all my encouragements, he's never spoken to me.
Right.
So Sartain was there kind of like, hey, man, we're going to get you out there. We're going to,
Yeah, them
It's
two
a
had a
matter of time.
relationship.
one-sided one. and like Sartain said, Michael's intelligent. He can speak.
Yeah.
He chooses not to speak.
Right.
So it does make sense, but I think that fixation angle just gets lost because immediately Sartain is killed and not referenced and not important.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that in this movie, actually, where they almost build
Yeah.
up their importance and then they're just gone.
Yeah, one of them was the dad.
Yeah, and also the podcasters at the beginning.
Yeah, them two. You thought they were going to be important, and then they get annihilated.
Aaron and I don't remember the
Yeah.
other girl's name, but they both showed up to do this podcast about Michael Myers, then they just get obliterated.
Yep.
This movie is weird about introducing people who don't matter.
Right.
Also, Allison's boyfriend doesn't matter at all.
And for some reason is going to be in the next one.
Yeah, supposedly he's going to be in future entries.
So some things I actually really enjoyed about the movie was I like how Michael, in this one and in the first Halloween, how you could tell he has like a sense of humor with his kills.
Yeah.
Like in this one, I know it's just
I probably can't show a lot of these because
Right.
of the graphic edits and getting demonetized, but I'll show what I can.
But this one, he actually put on the bed sheet, not like over a dead
Yeah.
body in this one, but like that was what he did in the first one.
Yeah, he pretended to be a ghost.
Yeah.
In the first one. He was,
And then he also set up like the flashlight in the person's
Mouth,
head
yeah, in their
to make it
mouth.
look like a pumpkin.
yeah, like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, so I like how he has some sense of humor with his stuff. You could tell he's not just
Even
an
the
idiot.
even the teeth. The teeth
Yeah.
over the bathroom stall. It
Yeah.
was like he was trying to scare people. and
Yeah.
He's very intelligent.
Yeah, you could tell he's not an idiot. He's not just like some moron running around murdering people.
Well, and that's one of
He's
the big
speci-
differences between him and Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Not saying Jason Voorhees is a complete idiot,
But-
but he's pretty dumb
Right.
compared to Michael Myers. That's
Right.
one thing I always liked about Michael, and they kept that intact here. It's also something they lost in a lot of the later Halloween movies, like when you have Busta Rhymes roundhouse kicking Michael Myers in the face. You've kind of lost some of that. Luckily, we moved away from that.
Right.
Thank God.
It's like Halloween Kills, Busta Rhymes shows up at the end.
He's back. When it gets dark outside and someone's alone, he raps. And it zooms in on Busta Rhymes. I absolutely love the kills in this movie, by the way. They're really cool. From the bathroom scene, which was brutal, absolutely, and nuts, to just seeing some off-screen kills that you never get to see, like just finding bodies, to things like the babysitter that he kills again, harkening back again to the babysitter murders, to going into that house and coming up behind
Stabbing
the woman. Yeah, there's a woman that comes up behind, slams her head down into a desk, and then goes right through the back of her neck. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff, and I will say this movie knows where to be brutal and where not to be. Yeah. There is one exception to that, and it is what we put in our intro stupid sketch, which is the idea that there was I don't know how much I can say this, but a head flattening with Michael's foot. Yeah. That was really random and kind of out of nowhere and almost more Rob Zombie-ish. Yeah. However, it could also be that he just absolutely hated Sartain.
Yeah, he's just, get out of here.
Yeah. So that could be possible too, because Sartain has been talking to this dude for like 40 years.
Right. He just wanted to go overboard on him.
Yeah, that's very possible. And that's another scary thing we don't know about Michael. Why does he do what he does? Right. I don't know. Hopefully we don't explain it's because of a cult. What else did you love? Ooh, the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack was amazing. I love how they did a callback to a lot of the original music. Yeah. So I thought that was fantastic. The kills, like we mentioned. One thing I actually really liked. It was a moment, actually. It was at the very end. I know it's like somewhat kind of cheesy, but the part where Laurie's daughter actually was like crying and then like had the gun. I know you're judging me. I like that part.
Okay.
I didn't like Laurie's part where she's like, Happy Halloween, Michael.
I didn't like that either.
I thought that was kind of funny or weird, but...
Well, that was a callback to an earlier movie as well. But I think that was a callback to H2O. I would have to think about it, but right. Yeah.
But I actually like that scene. And I like how she set up her whole house as like a trap specifically for Michael. Mm-hmm. And specifically, even like that underground like part, she even set that up as a cage. Trap. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of thought that went into this movie.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I just thought Laurie's house was cool.
And out of all of them that I have watched, this is the best Halloween sequel ever, I think. I think it's much better than 2. 3 is nothing related to it. 4 randomly brings Michael back. I know a lot of people like it. It's not... Well, most of these are not really for me, honestly. Right. I love Michael Myers. I love Halloween. I don't like a lot of the directions they took the older movies. Yeah. This is kind of the timeline so far that I've enjoyed the full thing of 1 and this. And I'm really hopeful about the next couple movies. I'm really hoping that they're good. And disappointed we didn't get the one this week. Yeah, actually it would have come out this week. And we didn't get it because of the global cough. So sadly, we'll have to wait until next year for that. Hopefully theaters are still around to play it in. But overall, I don't know. I love this movie. I don't have much bad to say about it. I've probably seen it like 5 or 6 times now.
Same.
So I've watched it a lot. I've watched this one even more than the original.
Yeah, so, I have too, actually. I think I've only seen the original like 3 times.
Same.
This one I probably watched like 6 or 7.
Yeah. I know I watched it 4 times the year it came out.
Yeah.
I watched it 4 times in theaters. And then in 2019, I got it and I watched it once or twice. And then I watched it again this year. So, I don't know. Do we have anything to add to this?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I would say definitely watch it. Check it out. We love it. One of my favorite horror movies of all time. This is kind of the saving grace of slashers in the 2010s, I guess you'd say, or 20...
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, there were barely any. The only 2 I can think of were this and Hellfest. And I can guarantee you don't really want to waste your time with Hellfest. It's not very good. But this was great. So
I'd rather watch The Nun.
No, you would not. No,
Hellfest.
You would
I'd rather watch The Nun.
Hellfest is actually better than The Nun.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But anyways, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to like this if you enjoyed it. Dislike if you dislike it. As always, the engagement, letting us know what you think. Either way, it helps us out. We love seeing the comments down there of what you think. If you'd like to help support the channel in any way, the Patreon link is in the description down below where you can help us out. We do appreciate it. And we've got all the social medias down there as well. Instagram, Twitter, Discord, a fun Discord where you can join and have fun with all of us. See you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. And as always, stay shway. And happy Halloween. Stay spooky. Should have had a yo-yo for this part.